On this special episode of Supercars Torque, I speculate about the silly season. With the big news happening last week of Will Davison and Red 23 pulling out, James Courtney and Peter Adderton taking over that kind of licence car, everything at Tickford, I thought it was about time that we start some silly season rumours and speculation for the next year, because why not? We'll start off at the top end of the field, and it was going to be an exciting silly season, I thought, this year, because we had Scott McLaughlin, Jamie Whincup, Shane Van Gisbergen all out of contract. So last year the only name that was really out of contract was Chaz Mostert, so everything speculated on him. All of a sudden this year we had, all these big names that could potentially go somewhere or move somewhere. Unfortunately, before Adelaide, Triple Eight decided to end kind of half of the fun there. They re-signed Jamie Whincup for one more year, so you never know. Shane Van Gisbergen is signed up for multiple years, whatever that means. So that takes away the fun of the speculation there, and they'll probably even keep the same enduro lineup, because when you've got two guys who could be championship contenders in a Triple Eight car as your enduro co-drivers, why would you change a thing there? DJR Team Penske. So we can assume that contracts are up for both of the drivers. I think if this whole COVID thing hadn't happened, Scott McLaughlin would have been flying backwards and forwards to the USA, doing as many IndyCar races as possible this year, and probably running in third or fourth Penske seat there in IndyCar next year. Because of this whole COVID thing, and chances of him doing an IndyCar race, just even one this year, seem to be slipping away. I think we might see Scotty next year still at Team Penske here, and doing the plan of doing a few IndyCar races next year, with the view for 2022 being his full-time debut in America. So it's a little bit unfortunately, for watching McLaughlin go over to IndyCar, but it's kind of good for the series. We know that Scott's going to be on top of his game, and he's going to be able to challenge those Triple Eight guys. His replacements or his teammate, there's question marks over that. I've been saying for quite a while that Coulthard should get shifted, because there's people who... Someone should be closer to Scotty as his teammate. Now, Scott hasn't, had a teammate really challenge him. Has he had the best of teammates all the way through as well? That's another question. The big rumour was that Anton was going to go there and replace Scott. He could still be going there to replace Fabian. I think this is a good idea, because I don't think Anton's quite ready to fully lead a team. It's not like he's blown Dave into the weeds or anything. He's, been there or thereabouts with Dave Reynolds. If you had to pick out of the two, I'd be picking Dave as a, now kind of thing, which if you were wanting to replace Scott McLaughlin, you need someone to go out and win races now. I think Anton could, use a year or two underneath Scotty just to, learn even more and get up to that next level. Of course, there is a few other drivers now available. Will Davison, he could be a really good fit in there. He has a bit of history with the team many, many years ago. Had a couple of wins there when it was just Dick Johnson with the Jim Beam sponsorship. And you can only assume that Andre Heimgartner, Nick Percat are both available if there was a Penske contract there. I think both of them would fit in really well there, and they couldn't really do any worse than Coulthard. So why not shuffle the pack a bit and see what comes out? Tickford Racing, we can assume that Cam Waters is still going to be there. He's doing a good job. There's no need to replace him. It looks like James Courtney and Mr. Adderton, with his boost money, are going to be there for the long haul. Going off prior experience with Peter Addison, long haul could mean 3 minutes. But, that let's just say that they're going to be the fourth car or whatever. That I think is probably more like the lead or second car. Holdsworth and LeBrock, I had high hopes for LeBrock coming into the series. Granted, he's been in a second-rate Techno car, and we've only seen him in one event at Techno, but I expected to see a little bit more of him out of that Techno car. There wasn't those flashes that, if he was going to be a champion one day, that you would still see, when you had guys like Fernando Alonso or Mark Webber in at Minardi in Formula One, there was those flashes of brilliance that you saw shine through every now and again. I haven't seen that out of LeBrock. He could prove me wrong, but at the moment I would say those two seats are available. Will Davison, he deserves a seat more than those two, and if it was up to me, I'd be doing some shuffling right now to get Will Davo as the lead driver in one of those seats. But it's not up to me, so we'll see what happens. I think we will see at least, we'll assume that Courtney's in there now. I think we'll see one of those 4 seats change hands next year. Erebus Motorsport, they're all signed up. Decade Dave's in there for the long haul, and Will Brown's already signed for next year. I suppose the big question mark is whether Anton does go to Penske or whether they start running a third car for him. And then where does the money come from? Will it be 3 Penrite cars, or have they got, sponsors kind of lined up for that? There's really not too much to report. And then if they are thinking about running a third car, if Anton does go somewhere, will they start running a third car for someone else? Because apparently they were a long way down the track of, running a wild card for James Courtney with the boost money. So they've got plans to expand that team, obviously. So it will be interesting to see whether, if Anton disappears, does that whole thing of a third car disappear, or do they try and bring someone on? They have got, Brody Kostecki in the team as an enduro driver as well, and what's seemingly an unlimited pot of gold from that Western Australian mining kind of boom thing. Could we see Kostecki there running the third car? Who knows? In at Walkenhorst, Chaz signed, as far as I know, it was a 2-year contract, so Chaz will be there for the next year. Bryce Fullwood, either someone comes along with a bigger check, or Bryce's check's enough to keep him in the seat. I think that one at the moment is a bit more money driven than results, with everything being funneled into Chaz's car to try and at least get the team further up the front before they start looking at another car. So really, I think Fullwood's going to get a second round there. In at Kelly Racing, Rick's going to be there until he retires, and now we only have to look at one other seat. Realistically, unless, Penske or possibly Tickford come knocking on the door, Jaime's going to stay there, and they seem to be a pretty good pairing. They seem to be happy. Chances are we just won't see any change at Kelly's. For this, I'm going to lump in Team 18 and Brad Jones Racing together. I can't see either of them changing anything. Probably even, other than Nick Percat's rolling sponsorship kind of deal, I can't see anything really changing, and it will be the same kind of rolling sponsorship deal with Percat, unless Mr. Penske comes knocking and takes Percat away. I think Todd Hazelwood could potentially be a champion in waiting, but is he going to get the opportunity with one of the big teams? I can't quite see it. I think he's got a home at BJR for 5 or 6 years, and then he'll go to co-driver land. And Team 18, I think their lineup's going to be pretty stable for the next few years with that sponsorship group, and mediocre results will just continue, and more of the same for them. That leaves us with Techno Team Sydney and Matt Stone Racing, and at this point, who cares? Realistically, it's going to be whoever comes with the biggest checkbook. Neither of them are in a position to go out searching for a driver and go and pay them money. The results aren't there or anything, so really it's going to be one of the the guys that have already got the seats, or someone from the development series trying to make the step up, who's got half a budget there ready to just put the sticker on a plain red car. So that's where they're at. So that covers off where we're at with the silly season so far. Let me know what you think, whether, I'm miles off on some of these things, or whether, some of the speculation is spot on. It'll be interesting to see how it pans out over the next couple of months, and whether we see any racing before there's any more moves. As well, supercarstalk@gmail.com if you want to get in contact with me. And until next time, I'll see you later.